Is street photography a contemporary form of art that is accessible to everyone? Let's talk about it featuring the little Pixii. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thomas Love here from beautiful Vancouver, British Columbia, and first things first, happy Thanksgiving to all my Canadian friends. I know it's a bit early for the ones in the States because you're gonna have it in a few weeks, but today in Canada it's Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you all. So today I would like to talk to you about this form of art, which is street photography. And if you follow the channel for a while, you know that I've been using my Leica Q2, which I'm using right now to record this episode, as my EDC and as my one lens only, and I recently paired it with the little Pixii that solves my monochrome needs. So let's talk about it, because street photography, it was a need for me. When COVID hit, I started going out in the streets to find beauty, because prior to that I was traveling so much. I was hitting a new country every month, and so I was traveling with my whole gear, plenty of lenses in the backpack, the tent, the DSLR, all the glasses, additional lights, memories, batteries, you name it, and it was all so heavy. But then guys, when COVID hit and we could not travel anymore, then I started going out in the streets of my own city to find beauty out there, because if you hit downtown every day with new eyes, you will see new things. So getting in touch with people, also while respecting the distance, and seeking for beauty. And this Summilux glass helped me a lot, not diminishing what I was seeing, and so I could picture and frame some beauty and share it with the friends, with the family, with my public, with clients, with whoever I wanted to share it to. And so it was a good way of starting, evolving, and dedicating much more time than I was doing before with street photography. And then this Leica, as a one lens only, has many peculiarities and many advantages, but also a few lacks. Then I started developing the will of having something to express my monochrome way of life, because if you start reasoning in luminous and you seek for luminous, shadows, contrasted situations, then the storytelling changes a lot. So I put together a few hints in my book, which is Tell a Story with Street Photography, but these are just a few hints. And so when I'm out there and I'm teaching street photography classes, and I have all the ducklings, that how I call the guys that are following me, that are willing to see and to learn something, I cannot really teach you anything, because the only way to learn to express yourself in your own way is to dedicate more and more time, as much time as possible, and to get to know your camera. And so the few hints are just a different cases that you might face when you're out there in the streets, but the most important thing is that you know your camera very well, because in the very end the camera is just a tool, and it's just a mean to an end. And so the more you use it, the more you get along with it, the more you get along with the same focal distance, with the same glasses, you know what to expect and how it can help you frame and freeze and tell the story that you want to tell. And so to that extent, any camera like a Sony, Nikon, Pixii, Fuji, whatever you name it, might help you if you know it and if it is your camera. But after a certain extent, you incur into some limitations, because maybe an APS-C camera is not helping get as much light as you want to have if you're doing night photography, because maybe the tripod you bought is very sturdy, but it's also way too heavy, so you don't take it with you anymore, and many other things. When it comes down to monochrome, well, with my Leica Q2, I have to face that this is not a BSI sensor, and if I want to shoot monochrome, yes, I can switch to monochrome and see in black and white in the rear display or inside the EVF, but it's not a real monochrome shooting. And so when I wanted to go out there and find beauty, I want to do it the way I started photography, because with monochrome, back then when I was shooting with film cameras, you just put a black and white film and you're done. You didn't have any advantage, you didn't have any help, you could not see the framing in real time as you do right now. You cannot check anything apart from the exposure. Maybe you have the metering, but auto white balancing, auto exposure, metering, autofocus, image stabilization, these are all things that came afterwards. And so when I got the Leica Pixii, I was also happy because I went back to pure photography. This is not a hybrid camera. This is a camera that can only shoot pictures. While many other models, many other brands, you will have a photography first camera, but then you are able to record videos, such as my Leica Q2, because I'm using it right now to record the video in 4K 24p. This camera is a pure photography, and then eventually you can pair it with the Pixii app in your phone and use it as a monitor, as a display, to double check the framing lines, to set it to monochrome, to Bayer, to whatever you want to change. You can do it through the app. But if you're not using the app, as I'm not using, you will be going out there with a very solid body and a very beautiful glass. Now, this is the Voigtlander that they sent me together with the camera. I'm very happy that they sent me this glass and not one of the zillion Chinese glasses that need to be calibrated, because Voigtlander, I really like this glass as much as I loved the Zeiss 25mm Bygone that they lent me this summer. So if you missed that episode, please find it up here. Why I like this camera and my Leica Q2 so much? Because it has a very personal approach to photography. Now, I know you guys are fond of Sony cameras and all the alien technology, the autofocusing tracking mechanism, so on and so forth, and these are very good help if you do it as a profession. If you are a sport photographer, if you are a wedding photographer, whatever it is, your profession, this is a very good help. But if you go out in the street, well, it makes it a bit less personal, because every choice that you hand over to your camera, well, it's not yours anymore. And so I really like my Q2, which is fully manual and also with the manual dies, and I really enjoy shooting with the Pixii because it is a very personal way of expressing myself. Maybe the AI can do better choices, maybe the end result is not as good as if I've taken it with the Sony camera and with all the aids, but at least I'm expressing myself 100%. When you want to shoot monochrome, you focus on the luminance and you tell a story by framing the shadows that you can use as leading lines. And this is very different versus snapping pictures here and there with your iPhone and then cropping in post and trying to make a story out of it. So the real difference here is that you see something and you want to portray it, or you want to tell a story, you want to share it, versus snapping random things and then try to make a story out of it. So that would be the first difference. So yes, when it comes down to the Leica Pixii, and in a while I will let the results speak for themselves, because I had great results this summer with this camera, especially in monochrome. I had the chance to talk to Mr. David, or I should say David, because the camera company is a French company, and I admired this guy because he came out with a brand new concept and a brand new camera, and he further developed it. This is already the third iteration in a sector where there were plenty already of cameras and of brands. And so the Leica Pixii is able to resolve both color and monochrome, and it is the very first camera 64-bit processor that can use the Leica M-mount glasses. And so whatever you are picking, guys, if you pick a Leica glass, a Voigtlander, a Zeiss, you will be safe and you will get incredible results out of it. That you might like it more or less than the camera you own already. You might like it more or less than a Fuji, than a Sony, than a Leica, than whatever, but this is a very valid choice. So I'm very happy I had the chance of using it for all these months, 6-7 months already, and it is gaining its place beside my Leica Q2. So whenever I have to go out and I need the weather sealing or the image stabilization or the autofocus for whatever reason, I will go with the Leica. When I need to shoot monochrome or I need to have a good use of the BSI sensor because maybe the light conditions are a bit challenging, then I will go and hit them down with the Pixii. But apart from that, guys, I will let the results speak for themselves because I had very, very good quality images this summer. And if you had any question about the Leica, about street photography, about the little Pixii, about Vancouver, about any tour, just let me know down here in the comments. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. If you did, please remember to like it, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the new videos to come. And I guess I will see you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.